In the last video, I told you that a failure rate of 70% for projects is total nonsense. It might even be higher. It might be above 90%. And I would argue that failure is very, very likely. And I promise to tell you 2 reasons why this is the case, and that is what I'm going to do in this video. The reason is psychophysics. And psychophysics is kind of a strange thing, but let's try to apply physics to change. And what you see on my side in the picture is a number of dots. Let's say an organization with 10 dots. And we are putting a certain amount of energy, of change energy, into the system to destabilize the system. Why we have to do this is something that we have covered in another video. So I, as a change agent, I'm now giving another amount of energy into the system to destabilize the equilibrium and to trigger change in the social system. And let's say I'm taking the energy that has the value of 10 other dots. So in the system of 10, I'm placing another 10. And what you can immediately see, it's a no-brainer, something has changed. Now, let's move to another system. Let's say we have a larger organization, we have a different social setup, it's 110 energy points in the system, and I think, hey, I already was successful in the last organization with the last project, so let's apply the same amount of energy in this system as well. So I'm adding 10 energy dots. And what you see is nothing. You don't see change. Change isn't visible. And that is one of the rules of psychophysics. That is the question about the minimum viable change, the Weber-Fechner law that can be applied to physics, that can be applied to hearing, to tactical feedback and all these type of things. And I would argue it's also applicable for change projects. So again, all systems try to maintain an equilibrium. No system wants change. Everyone wants to remain stable. Change only happens if we are destabilizing the system as change agents, which is a bit tricky. Why is something that we're going to cover in another video. And there are the 2 problems. Problem number 1 is find and introduce the appropriate amount of energy to destabilize the system and to trigger the change. If it's too little, nothing will happen. If it's too much, it will crush and burn the system. That is problem number 1, the right amount of energy. Problem number 2, why it is very likely that your change will fail. Different individuals have different sensitivity to certain stimuli. So if you bring in some energy into the system to destabilize it, some might say, hey, I don't care. Some might say, okay, it's getting uncomfortable, my equilibrium is shaken, I have to change. And others might be totally crushed. And the problem is how to define the energy for each and every person that is affected by the change. That is, I would say, impossible. And these are the 2 reasons why it is very, very likely that your change will fail.